What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Once a Project podcast, brought to you by your host, Brandon Lara. Joining me is my co-host,
Jackie.
and joining us is a man who's killed me many times, has made me pass out almost a couple times. To my side is my friend, personal trainer, insurance guide. What else?
I don't know.
Buddy, family
There
friend.
you go. I like that. Family friend.
Family
we'll
friend.
Call it that.
Family. Yeah, we'll do family friend. What's your name, bro?
I thought you said we were friends. You should know my name.
I do know his name, but I want him to say because
The one and only, right?
the one and
Vinny.
only Vinny.
No. Thank you. Quite an introduction.
Yeah, this is Vinny, guys. So you and I met through my mom,
Yep.
and then we had planned before me and Jackie got married that I was going to train with you. Never came about though until after.
Yep.
And then we started training with you. And I didn't know how hard you went in fitness. So I want to know, the reason why we brought you in is I want to know your start in fitness, how you got things going, why, and things like that. So
Oh, man. That's a good question.
let's start with, how did you get into fitness?
Dude, ever since I was a little kid, it's really funny. This is going to be a stupid story. People might laugh at this a little bit, but I loved Rocky growing up. So Rocky was like my role model, and I would watch his workouts before he would go into a match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the build up to the match that really excited me more than the match itself. You know what I mean? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
like the
so the
coming out?
journey getting there.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
Like you look when he's going to fight the Russian in Russia, and he's running through the snow, and he's
Or-
pushing the big ass wagon.
Yeah,
right?
or when he's hitting that cow, that frozen cow. Isn't that
There
a
you
scene?
go. Yeah.
Like, think about that. Who hits a cow, dude, in in a freezer? That wouldn't you be cold? Wouldn't you get frostbite?
Dude, I'd be more worried about hitting a rib,
Oh yeah.
breaking a knuckle on a rib.
Oh,
I guess you
dude.
gotta have hard knuckles if you're gonna be a boxer. You should know that.
That's how you know that Rocky's fake, because that fool was hitting like kidneys and ribs and I don't know, ass and all that. It's true. I mean, in that scene, he's hitting this damn cow and it's like this big, and he's like
Frozen.
yeah, he's like fine. There's nothing wrong with him. And anyways, continue.
Dude, I don't know. I'm not a boxer. You have experience in that.
I have. So when I was boxing, dude, my coach at the time, he would tell me I had girl hands because my. No, this is true.
You
This
still do.
this is true though.
Oh, from the wife, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, listen, they already know how she is. But he would tell me, he's like, because he would wrap my. So before every time we train, he'd wrap my wrists or my damn knuckles with paper, like toilet paper, and he would tell me, he's like, your hands are just too fragile. You need to like hit rice or something so that you can.
Maybe you
harden
need
those
to
knuckles.
be hitting a cow, a frozen one.
True. I need to find a cow to hit. But yeah, you know who would know more about that? Kennedy, because I wonder how his knuckles are. Because my knuckles are not that good, honestly. Like
Dude, watching you
break.
two, it's funny because you're both competitive and you're both competitors, right?
Yeah.
So I assume, I mean, anybody that goes and hits a 2x4, they know that, oh man, that's going to hurt a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You just hope that it breaks, because if it doesn't break, that's when it really hurts.
Yeah. Imagine just hitting it and it just stays there. It's like, it hurts.
Yeah, so let's just say that when Rocky's hitting those ribs, they're breaking every time.
And
That way
he
it
is
doesn't hurt so
strong.
bad.
That fool is built. Have you seen him lately? Like it's Sylvester Stallone.
Dude, getting old and getting more ripped every year. I love that.
He's for sure on steroids though, huh?
Well,
TRT.
I'm sure. You know,
Something.
it's not my place to judge. That's kind of a controversial world, but you know.
I
who
mean,
knows?
but I mean, if you're an actor and you're doing like these movies and you have to look ripped, I would get on steroids myself. I mean, you're not competing. It's not that you're doing something unfair. So, and he probably feels better with TRT. I mean, if he's doing TRT, I don't know, but I hear it's great.
You know, honestly, being on TRT is awesome. You recover faster, your hormones are higher, you just feel better, right?
Yeah.
You know, from personal experience. But TRT, I don't know. That's in the medical world, right? It's what a lot of guys use just to keep themselves happy.
Yeah. Is it true though that when you're on TRT, if you can't come off it anymore? Because if you do, then your natural levels crash. because your own body stops producing testosterone. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you pretty much hit it. So if you start taking steroids or anabolics of any kind, your body gets used to having that, right? So it
Yeah.
stops producing it as much itself. So
Oh,
let's
okay.
just say you're 22, right?
Right.
You're 23,
21.
21. Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're a baby.
I'm not on TRT, but when we get to
No,
that
you
50,
don't. You don't need TRT. You're 21 years old. Your levels are already at their peak, right?
yeah, just need more squats. That's what I need. I haven't been doing my squats lately.
See,
So,
now imagine you start taking you start taking steroids or
yeah.
TRT or just anything, right? What's going to happen is your body's going to say, hey, I don't need to produce it myself as much anymore.
Gotcha.
And then when you come off of it, not only are you used to being at a high, but now your body's not producing as much. And so you start feeling really, really groggy. You feel like garbage. You don't want to wake up anymore.
Yeah.
You don't recover from workouts as fast. The muscle doesn't come on as fast. Fat builds faster, which just drops your test more. So you end up in kind of a nasty downward spiral.
But can you, if you come off it and keep working out, let's say, or whatever, can your testosterone levels get back to how they were before you started taking TRT naturally, or is it just you're done?
Well, I mean, you're also going through a time lapse, right? Because as we age, our levels naturally drop anyways, right? So somebody that jumps on a cycle, they usually don't just jump on a 8 to 12 week cycle. They end up running it for, way longer than they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Then they cycle another and another and another. And before you know it, there's just really no going back. Your levels aren't ever going to recover from that. Plus, who knows how many years you've been in this cycle.
Yeah. What about women? Is there things for women that's like TRT? Because TRT is what mostly for men. That mostly men use TRT.
Not necessarily. Like women can have a drop in their testosterone levels. They can have estrogen and progesterone problems, just like men can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My best advice to anybody is if you feel like you need something, you go ask a doctor. Because
Right. Yeah.
because you
don't
can't
that
just tell me, hey, I'm feeling this kind of way. It's got to be my testosterone or my estrogen.
Yeah.
That's up to a trained professional to look at. So
Yeah, I actually have a story. There was a time that I thought I had low testosterone, so I went to go get. I was 18 or something like that. So I was like, because I was feeling super tired, and, lethargic the whole time, and not motivated. I was like, am I just like, are my levels okay? Am I fine with my body? And then so I went to go get checked, and thinking that was gonna, that he was gonna be like, yeah, you need some TRT or something. No, he came back and he's like, dude, your levels are normal. It might just be like a mental thing. You might just be going through something mentally, and that could be exhausting you to the point where you're groggy and lethargic the whole time, which ended up being true. So, what do you think about that? Do you think mindset and mentality has to do with what do you think it connects it with fitness? How do those two go together?
Dude, well, we're going like into a whole wellness conversation now.
This is
Dude,
why.
mindset is huge, right?
Yeah.
Like you look at how well somebody is. We're talking about a whole different like a larger spectrum of things. There can be a lot on somebody's plate. For you, I don't know what your situation was, but you could have been going through a lot of stress in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That could have been weighing you down, and that could have been more of a emotional depression kind of a thing than a testosterone thing, And I think they can be easily confused because each way, you're tired, you're unmotivated, you don't want to get up, you don't want to do anything, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. I think when I was going through that, it was a lot of that. It was just too much on my head that I didn't know how to deal with it, and it became so overwhelming. The way I explained it once was if I had like weights and there was an ocean around me, but it felt like I was just in a cup and I was drowning, That's almost how it felt because I didn't know what to do with that weight that I was carrying and those emotions, so it kind of put me down a lot. So I thought I needed testosterone, but I didn't.
I could see how you would kind of confuse that.
Yeah.
How old were you?
18.
18. I think that's crazy because I'm watching, in our personal life, a lot of 18-year-olds who are really struggling to figure out what they want to do in life, right?
Yeah, that's another one is that like you have this, so 18 getting out of high school, right? You have this pressure on almost of like, you have to have your plan for life figured out. But I didn't know what to do because I was so involved in something. And then when that wasn't working out, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? So at 18, I didn't go to college, decided not to go to college. So I almost felt like people were like looking down on me, if that makes sense, like, oh, what is this kid going to do now? What's his plan? And I never wanted to be just someone who just worked a 9 to 5 and that was kind of it. So that adds on pressure too, plus some personal life stuff that was going through.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we see it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like as a dad to an 18-year-old, like I get it. There's a lot of stress. You don't have to be perfect. I think that's what a lot of people need to hear is like, you don't have to be perfect. And truth be told, I'm looking at all these apartments over here. Do you think they care about what you do in your life?
No, I mean, and that's the craziest thing too, is that if you look at the real world, right? If you, like you said, if you look outside of these apartments, you look at all these windows and there's people there, they don't really care what I'm doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't care that we're right now sitting down. But on social media, it makes it, so social media plays a huge part, and it did for me to make it almost too important. I felt like people on social media were like, what is he going to do? When those people, they're real, but they're not, because social media is not real, if that makes sense. It's just, well, I mean, this is real right here, I can't touch social media the way I can, touch your shoulder.
Well, no, I mean, it goes a lot more than just social media too for the 18-year-olds out there that are listening, right? Like, I'm not saying don't go to school because I'm a huge advocate for go to school.
Me too.
I did it. I got my bachelor, it worked out for me. But whatever you choose to do, just do it at 100%. I was having this talk with Brenton, actually, my partner in the insurance world. And
Shout
when
out
I was,
Brenton.
yeah, shout out. What up, Brenton? We love you. But when I was 18, I was working at KFC, and I ended up managing the KFC.
Oh, damn.
And I was looking at, I know, I was scared to death, dude. Being 18, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
There were some of the, 35, 40-year-olds, they were looking at me like, this kid has no clue. And they were right. Whoa. I had no clue. But I showed up.
Yeah.
Every single day I showed up. I was on time, if not early. I did the work that needed to be done. I didn't ask for breaks or extra breaks. I just did as best as I could, right? And I thought about it, and I'm like, man, if I would have been there 10 years and I would have just kept going at it with the same intensity, the same tenacity, right? I would probably own my own KFC right now.
Your own franchise.
I would probably have my own franchise, right? I just chose to go a different route where, I didn't have to work with that tenacity and that intensity the way that I was, and that I could control my life a little bit more.
Yeah. Has this mindset always been a mindset that you've grown up with, or where did it come from, of just going 100% at something that you want to do or whatever you're doing?
Dude, watching Rocky punch frozen cows. That's where that came from.
Wow. You know what's crazy? There's no movies now that are like that for kids that inspire them. Because I imagine, when you mentioned Rocky, that was probably a really big part of your childhood growing up, seeing his mindset, punching that cow and running up these stairs and whatnot. And it probably inspired you.
Dude, I wouldn't say that there's no more movies out there. I mean, look at Creed. There's a scene where he's in the desert, beating the crowd. It's funny that stuff still appeals to me. You know what I mean? Because I watch those, it gets me motivated. I'm like, I gotta go get in the gym right now. And so, no, I think there's plenty of content out there. I think it just doesn't appeal to as many people anymore. And I don't know why. I wish I could change that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today, is because I do hope to change that. Because I think that there is, there's a population of people who do want to do better, and who do want to look better, and do want to feel better. And then they know that there's not an easy pill to get you there. They know that they don't have to take testosterone to do that. That they can go the long route. Because let's be honest, this is all about time, right? It's all about patience, which is one thing that I lack.
Yeah.
But I do have discipline, and so I tell myself I have to be patient, and I have to go one more day, one more step in the right direction, and eventually you'll get there, right?
Yeah. So when did you start working out, like, religiously?
Oh man,
because you are religiously a workaholic in working out. I don't think there's a day that you don't post on your story that you're not working out.
Oh, that's a good question. I've had breaks, right? This is a fitness journey for a reason. You're gonna have bumps in the road. You're gonna have to go around a rock every once in a while, and you're gonna have to jump over some shit. When I was in high school, it was pretty easy to always stay fit because either I was in basketball or baseball or something, you know, and I took a little bit of a break from sports my sophomore year. And that's when lifting really became a vice because I'm ADD as hell. I got to be doing something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the weights just kind of became, I don't know, my happy place. And so I would say that I've been fairly consistent, you know, outside of those rocks and those bumps in the roads ever since I was right around sophomore year in high school.
So the little kids, right? Not the little kids, but the teenagers right now who are thinking, you know, it's cool because I see a lot of teenagers at the gym that I'm going to now. The other day, I saw a teenager go in at 6 a.m. And it wasn't that he was doing a lot of working out, but he was on the treadmill, you know? And to me, at least that's something. That's better than not doing anything. So what do you think your advice would be for the kids who don't have much to start with, who, you know, may struggle with going alone because they don't know how to feel. Maybe they feel insecure about people looking at them at the gym, you know, or they just don't feel like they're worthy of going because they're already fat. So if they go one day, it's not like it's going to change, you know, immediately. So what's your advice to those kids out there, teenagers going through that?
We all start somewhere. They're like, honestly, and this is funny. I heard this the other day. I don't remember who I heard it or where I heard it from. But if you're going to the gym and you feel alone, you feel like you don't really know what you're doing, you need some advice, find the biggest dude in the gym and ask him. Because guess what? The biggest dude in the gym, he's been there a really, really long time.
Right.
And believe it or not, he's probably done everything wrong.
Right.
And guess where he started?
Nothing.
He started right where you're starting, right where that person is starting, right? And truth be told, oftentimes that dude is probably one of the nicest guys. He might look intimidating.
Yeah.
You might look at him and be like, man, he might tear me apart. But he's probably not going to.
Yeah.
And in fact, he's probably gonna accept your questions as a compliment.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Yeah, because I remember for her when I was barely dating her, and I would push her to go to the gym, she would tell me, no, but like there's people, and like people look at me, and I don't want that. So I never knew how to go about that and kind of give her an advice. Because for me, I'm a very how do you say extroverted person?
extrovert, yeah.
I'm an extrovert person, you know. I made myself that person because before I was an introvert, but I made myself social. So for me, it wasn't hard to go up to a guy and say, dude, how do you do that? Or damn, dude, I'm trying to look like you know, like give him a compliment and then make friendship with them. But for her, it was different. So I was like, how do I kind of advise her or help her out? Because I couldn't be there all the time, you know. So that would make a lot of sense. Go to the biggest dude.
Well, and for Jackie, you know what I mean? She's a sweetheart, right? And that might be awkward. And there are a lot of introverts out there. You know, there's plenty of ways to learn. Like I'm kind of like Jackie.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, I was really introverted. I was scared to voice myself and my opinion. YouTube, Rocky. You know what I mean? It's funny because when I was like 6, I remember having 2 buckets of marbles, and they were probably like this big, but I'm gonna tell you they were like this big. You know, they weren't. No, they were little buckets of marbles, and I would watch Rocky, and I'd run around doing like a lateral raise, and then over into a front raise, and then down, and I would like run around the room. I'm sure I was that kid that every parent's like, God, please don't give me that kid. Because he has so much energy and I just worked 40 hours this week and I can't keep up with you right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I don't know. If it looks good, right? If you're doing something in the gym and you're watching yourself and it looks good, you're probably doing it right. Yeah. If it looks crappy or it hurts, you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You know? And another thing is man, personal trainers are worth it.
They're worth it. They really are. Because we can get a little bit into my experience with you as my personal trainer. At first, I started working out by myself, and I got to a point where I felt good about my body, and I felt good. I was doing good workouts. My form, I didn't know if they were right or wrong, but to what I was looking on the mirror, I was like, this looks correct, you know? The form looks okay. But then I plateaued, right? Where it was just there. I wasn't losing any weight. I wasn't gaining any muscle. It was just plateau. And that's when I contacted you, and we started to kind of figure out a plan. And yeah, I could say it is really worth to have a personal trainer, because that personal trainer, it's not just like oh, go do this. It's not a person who tells you what to do. It's a person who is guiding you, if that makes sense, you know? And you have that chip on your shoulder where it's like, if one day I'm like, I don't want to do this for myself because I'm feeling down, you have that chip on your shoulder. Well, I have to do it for him because he's putting his time into me, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's look at you, right?
Yeah.
Like you were one of my biggest successes, right?
Oh, man, thank you.
Because you came in. How many pounds did you lose? 20-something pounds.
I lost 21.
21 pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
In how long?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Right now, granted, a lot of that, you know, the first couple of weeks you lose some garbage out of your system, but
yeah.
that's still a lot of fat to lose, which is pretty cool. So with you had everything. You had the grit, you had the determination, you knew how to lift, your form was pretty good, but you were missing structure and accountability.
Exactly.
And that's where a coach is really, really good is they draw you a map. They say, here's all the keys to success. And they give you that map. And then they say, I'm going to watch you follow this map.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow this map, I'm going to put your ass on a treadmill and I'm going to make you run for 20 minutes.
Yeah, like that one day, dude, I got there and you're like, we were doing back day, I think. You're like, Brandon, get on the treadmill, because I was a couple pounds over my weight goal. I was like a pound. That was like 2-3 pounds, something like that. And he's like, Brandon, get on the treadmill. I'm going to make you get off this weight. And I did. I ended up losing the weight. And so then that's what a coach is, you know. And it's cool because you never really, you weren't one of those coaches that was a dick about it, you know.
I'm glad to hear that. I worry about some of my people walking away and being like, God, that guy, I'm never going back.
No, I've met those type of people where they're just dicks, you know. They're just like, I don't know, like they're just rude about it, and you're not like that. I would say you're an enforcer in a way, you know. You're like, all right, dude, we're gonna get it done. Like, we have to get this done. So,
dude, I'm gonna steal that nickname, the enforcer.
Go ahead, bro. That's all yours.
I like that.
Yeah, that's all yours, dude. So when you were starting out working out, did you have a personal trainer? Or was it Rocky?
Dude, I have... It's Rocky punching cows. I've had a lot of really, really good influences in my life. But truthfully, like I said, I was kind of like Jackie.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of YouTube. Man, I could pop off a couple of different names for you.
Give me two.
Matt Ogus was one of my favorite to watch.
Matt Ovius?
Matt Ogus. And you know what? If he's listening, man, you got to come visit me.
Yeah.
Or I'll fly over to you. I think he's in California. I don't know where he's at, but
come on, Matt.
Oh man, there's so many.
If you saw one,
Lazar Angelov. If you've ever, I don't know if I pronounced the name right. I'm sorry if I botched it, but he is, man, his physique is phenomenal.
You want to write that down? I want to see this guy, Lazar Angela.
And one more. Now, you talk about different types of training because each one of these guys trains a little bit different, right? Okay. And I went through a whole bunch of different phases of trying to figure out what I liked.
Yeah.
And then this other guy, like for those guys that like calisthenics out there, Frank Medrano. And again, I'm not sure if I pronounced the name right.
That fool looks freaking jacked.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, look at his shoulders. Oh. Jesus.
But just like he's got a pretty physique. I like the aesthetic physiques, right? Yeah. The guys that you could cut in half and then fold up, and they look the exact same, one to the right, left to the right, right?
Yeah.
And then Frank Medrano, go take a look at him.
Frank Medrano.
All completely different, but they're all so good at their trade.
Yeah.
Like Frank Medrano, he's more of a body weight. I'm gonna do a ton of pull-ups, and dude, it's beautiful what he can do. Wow. And then you look at Matt Ogus and Lazar are pretty close to the same. They lift heavy. Jesus. Yeah, look at that.
What a body.
He's old now.
He's still going though.
Yeah, he's 64.
Damn.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, so he
Yeah.
was probably what, like 30s when you were watching him?
How old do you think I am, boy?
Aren't you like 30?
That would put me at
Oh, wait,
0.
he
I'd
was-
be
he was like
in my
50
womb.
then.
I was pumping it in my mom's womb by your record.
Yeah, my math is not correct. So he was like 50, huh?
I don't know when I was really into his kind of stuff when I was more in high school. Just because I don't know, I was always told don't lift a ton of weights while you're in high school, you know, try and do body weight stuff. It's bad for your growth plates. Little did I know I was done growing at like 7th grade. we can all dream, but I didn't grow anymore.
Yeah, you stayed at the same. So then you get into this phase of like watching these guys and you start working out. Where was it? Was that like the leading point to a moment where you're like, I'm going to get into this full time and this is going to be one of my everyday things? Or was it kind of day by day that just kind of you got into a little bit more? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
So let's go back to the 18-year-old,
Okay.
right? And I'm gonna go to the 18-year-old Vinny because Vinny
Wait,
didn't
so
know what
were
he wanted to
you-
do either.
Were
What's that?
you
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
skinny when you were younger?
Yeah, how
or
were you when you started?
What was your body type?
Yeah.
I mean, if we go way back to the womb when I was watching Lazar Angelov and Frank Medrano. No, I actually retained fat really well. Like I was a little on the pudgier side. Once I started sports, junior high and a little earlier, I guess, I started to lean out, and I've always been fairly lean.
Okay.
I would say somewhere between 10 to 20% body fat my whole life.
Oh, okay.
Ish, you know?
Yeah, which is not
Not
terrible.
bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So then, what were you going to say?
Oh,
to the 18-year-old
back to
Vinny?
the 18-year-old Vinny, because you asked when did I want to make this a full-time gig, right?
Yeah.
That's where we were going. Dude, I didn't know what I wanted when I was 18.
Yeah.
Like 18 me was like, I want to go help people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
hear that from so many 18-year-olds. They're like, I just want to do something good in this world.
Right.
And I think it's good to be ambitious that way, but I had no direction at all.
Right.
So I signed up to go get a surgical tech degree because I figured I'm going to go work in surgery and help improve people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, make them feel better, make them feel more comfortable, right? Because when people go into surgery, it's because something hurts.
Right.
So let's get these people in pain out of there. Then I went into the medical sales world, right, where I started selling the hips, the knees,
Yeah.
the shoulders, and things like that. And every morning I would wake up, and it was an early job because we cut on people early.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, I could be training right now.
Wow.
I could be working with people in a different way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, and you look at a lot of the knees that are replaced out there. Do you know why a lot of these knees are replaced?
Because a lot of them are not worked out.
No. Well, I mean, close. You're getting into it. It's because people weigh too much.
And that's funny. I was actually hearing this yesterday on a podcast of a girl who lost 73 pounds, and she said it just got to the point where it hurt to walk. My knees were hurting because even if I was just standing, my knees would hurt.
Well, think about how much pressure, because there's a lot of leverage that goes against the knee, right?
Yeah.
Every step you take, if you weigh 10 pounds, I think it's something like 100 pounds of pressure is on your knee.
Whoa.
Right? Like, think about that for a second. You lose 100 pounds, that's almost 1,000 pounds of pressure.
Whoa. That's a lot.
If you're going, right? Because you're taking
Yeah.
a step, you're jumping, there's a little bit of a jolt, you've got some leverage, right? That's a ton of pain
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Especially over the years, if you go 50, 60 years of just weighing this much or whatever.
Right. So I'd be sitting here, we'd be in the OR. I'd be looking at these people on the table and I'd be like, man, was this truly joint pain, or was this, I could have lost 30 pounds and felt a lot better pain.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I worked with the best surgeons around. Like these guys are top notch. They wouldn't operate on somebody if they didn't need it. But you think, like, if I would have got to them, a personal trainer,
Yeah.
20 years ago, and I would have taught them how to lose weight, how to structure their diet, all these things that are so important, in our life, in our overall wellness, that we're really missing this world. If I would have gotten them 20 years sooner, would they be having this operation today?
Right.
The answer is probably not.
So that's where you found like that little purpose seed in a sense.
Well, and it's just like, that, and I couldn't stop dreaming about being in the gym, you know.
Wow.
And it was a daily thing. I'd wake up and I'd be like, God, I could be training 2 people right now. I could be doing this. And my brain, that ADD thing starts to take over, right?
Yeah.
And so it just goes elsewhere when I should be paying attention to the surgery. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so the doc asked me a question, and then I look over like, oh shit, what am I supposed to be thinking about right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm not giving them 100%. And I could tell, right? And everybody in the room could tell. And so I'm like, dude, I just got to get out of here. This is not where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I loved I loved the people I worked with. I loved the job. It's just, there was something missing.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't complete. It didn't feel completed.
Right. Well, I just felt like my purpose was more, I don't know, in the field, you know,
Yeah.
in a different way.
Gotcha. So then that's when you start to, okay, I'm going to do this full time, or am I going to do this on the side, or how did you get started with your side gig?
And let's go back to school, because that's when I decided to go get my bachelor degree.
Oh, okay.
And if Dan, Two Tigers, I love you, bro, but that's when this plan started to come into my mind.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Shout out to you. Who? Dan?
So Dan Two Tigers was my boss at the company that I'm talking to, and I got nothing but love for this man. Like he was such a fathering figure to me.
Oh, that's cool.
And he actually pushed me towards this degree, right?
Oh,
He's like, dude, you need to go get educated. You know, you can go up in life. You can do all these different things, right?
Yeah.
And it's true. So I'm like, okay, I'm going back to college.
Okay.
And when I was in college, I took a wellness course. You guys know what wellness is?
I mean, no, not really.
I mean, I thought I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh man, this has got to be like a healthcare class. I'm gonna do some anatomy. I'm gonna do some, look at the brain a little bit. No. Wellness is more like a psychology course.
Oh, interesting.
Wellness is like a compilation of all the different things impacting your life
Okay.
and how they make you feel.
Yeah.
Not necessarily physically, I mean, that's part of it, but how you feel about yourself, how you feel mentally.
Interesting.
Do you feel well today?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you were 18 and you had all those things fighting against you, and I was to ask you that question, it would be probably not.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, it was interesting because I started thinking about what can I do as a career to build my personal training reputation.
Yeah.
And I had to write a paper on different types of wellness. And financial wellness is something that's always interested me.
Right.
Again, I'm ADD as hell, so I like puzzles, I like things that keep me focused, and so I like math.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm traveling down this financial wellness rabbit hole, I find that I really like sales. I like working with people. I like talking to people. And much more, I like finance, which was weird, but it kind of came in. And where better to go if you're trying to make a little bit of money, like you want to make decent money,
Yeah.
than insurance.
Right. And so that's how it all connected.
And that's how everything connected, because I'm like, I can make enough money in insurance to feel comfortable in my life, and I can own my schedule so that I can wake up every single morning and train 2 to 4 people
Right.
before I go to work, because I own my schedule.
Right.
Right?
Right now, how many people are you training?
Yeah, 2 to 4 people in the morning. And then on Saturdays, I just, I try to be done before noon so I can spend some time with my family.
Nice. So, what's a common trait that you've seen with the people? Because how many people do you think you've trained over this time? Like a bunch? 100?
I don't know, dude. If we go back to when I wasn't actually a trainer and just working with people, I don't know. I couldn't give you a number. It's been quite a few, a fair amount of people.
So what do you think is a common trait that you've seen between, we're just going to name 2 type of people, right? And no one in general, but the people who quit halfway and the people who kind of keep going with the lifestyle that they've built with you after they've been there a couple months, whatever, a couple weeks. What's the common trait that they both have that you've seen? Oh, okay, well, this person, quit because of this or whatever.
Dude, let's go back to wellness.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of the people that fail, they don't believe in themselves. They've failed before they even started.
Yeah.
The people that succeed are the ones that come into it knowing they're going to succeed. They're the ones that say, okay, and they're usually the ones that pay me up front too,
Right.
just so you know. like,
Yeah.
like they're like, hey, I am 100% committed to 8 weeks of whatever hell you tell me I have to go through.
Yeah.
Just like you guys did.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny that you mentioned that because it is true. I remember I would go in there in the beginning. I would go in there and be like, "Oh man, I don't know if I can lift the weight that Vinny's gonna put on. Like, he's gonna try to put 245s, and I don't know if I can lift that." And then as we started working out, I started eating good and feeling better and losing weight. I'd go in there and be like, "This is my weight. I'm lifting this. No problem. This is easy." And then there's a story with you. I don't know if you remember, but when you got up to the rack and you're like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this," and then he's like, "Don't do that to yourself. Don't put yourself out."
Yeah.
You want to tell that?
No.
Or you don't have to. But
She's like, I'm over here watching the computer, guys.
For
Like, I was
real.
comfortable, and you just try to throw me under the bus. What are you doing, Brandon?
Don't do that.
no, but it's cool because your mindset changed right away. Like you're like, okay, you know what, I can do. And you actually did do it. You did lift that weight. So that was cool for me to see, from a third person view in a way, instead of me myself seeing like, okay, I can lift this weight.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good way to look at it too, because if you're defeated before you go into anything in life, you will never finish it.
Yeah.
I honestly, it has to be a 100%. I'm gonna jump into the cold freaking river and I'm not coming out. You know what I mean?
So that's the kind of the mindset that you have to go in with anything that you would advise is, if you're gonna do it regardless of how you feel the next day. Just stay at it.
Have you ever heard the saying "burn your boats"?
No, but I've heard burn your bridges or something like that.
Well, yeah, little different. I mean, burn my bridges is like I start dissing on you right now, and then you never want me to come back. You're like, hell no, I'm burning that bridge. This boy ain't ever allowed back on my island. No, burning your boats, it's essentially owning your island, right? If you want to own your island, the best way to own your island and be successful is to not have an escape plan. The boat is your escape plan, right?
Interesting.
You burn that boat, where are you going to go?
Right.
You have no choice but to succeed, period. That's what that means.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm going to say, people succeed or they fail. Because if you're going, let's say you're thinking about coming to train with me. Right. And I tell you, I've got 3 different programs. I got 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or 16 weeks. Mm-hmm. I recommend, you're in pretty decent shape. We can probably get done with the goal that you've told me you want to hit in 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. Well, now you have to be like, okay, no matter what, these next 8 weeks, I'm Vinny's bitch. Yep. And I'm going to do everything Vinny tells me. And there is no plan B. Because if you come into it like, oh man, I really like my cookies. I really like eating cereal. I really like doing this. It's going to really suck to do this. You've got an escape plan. You've already loaded the boats with cookies. And you're about to get on that boat, that comfort boat, and you're about to get off the island. You're never going to own that island. And you'll never change.
A question. What do you think? So for someone who's like, let's say you're going in with you for 8 weeks and the cravings come in week 3, week 4, what do you think it is that breaks the person sometimes where they do go eat the cookies, they do go eat the cereal? What have you seen that could be that breaking point? Do you think it's something in their personal life that just goes to shit, or something happens, or whatever? What have you thought about that?
Oh, I don't know, dude. We all crave good stuff. We all crave sugar.
True.
Like, let's be honest, it's so hard. The first thing that I do with all my people is we try and get rid of as many simple carbohydrates as possible, aka sugar, soda, things like that, right? Yeah. And the cravings are bound to hit. And I expect all of my people to jump on a cookie or to, that's just a metaphor, but to go get whatever their craving is and indulge. But the thing is if you've burned your boat, then it's just one of those things where you shake it off and you get right back on plan the next day. Yeah,
like, okay, I fucked up, but tomorrow I'm going to burn this off.
Yeah, and also don't lie to me about it.
Yeah.
Because like
people have lied to you about it?
Oh man, all the time. It's like, I don't care, because when we get really, really strict, like let's go into competitors, right? Mm-hmm. Like we all have that time. We all have that day. Things just pile up, and we lose in that moment, right? And then just jump right back on. Tell me what happened. We can fix it. It's nothing that we can't fix, right? We got 8 weeks.
Yeah, and that is true. Being honest with the coach is very important, because I where it fucked me up was getting that second job with when I was training with you. That just fucked everything up for me. And I told you about it, and you're like, yeah, I was going to tell you about it, but, you know, you're an ambitious kid, so I kind of wanted you to go fail at it. And I was like, yeah. And I learned my lesson, you know?
Well, why would I rain on your parade, man? Like, maybe it would have been the best thing in your life. Who knows?
Yeah. But, I mean, fuck that. Second jobs, we're waking up at 5 a.m. was not easy. It was not. What's our time?
40.
40?
40 minutes? All right.
Cool. What time you got to get out of here, bro?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good.
You're good?
I'm good. Yeah, if I get out of here by noon, that's great.
Perfect.
I got to get my wife out of the house. She's been watching kids all week. Like,
she's there. Get me out of the house.
She needs it.
She needs it. It's her time, her turn.
Hell yeah.
You know, because shout out to all the moms out there, by the way.
Yeah, dude. For real, shout out to the moms.
Because while I've been sitting here chasing this dream, doing all these things that I've been doing, my wife's had to be on the island, and I think she burned her boat a long time where she was going to support me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's had to take these two. You know, we got 2 kids, 3 years of age and under.
Yeah.
2 years of age and under. You know, London's 2.5 right now.
I walked in there, dude, and your little boy just started. He's on this like little thing. What is it called? Where they walking? And he literally just sprinted like to see who it was. I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" But as soon as I was walking, I asked your daughter in the middle. I don't know how old she is.
Milena, yeah.
Yeah, I asked her. I was like, "Is Vinny in the garage?" She's like, "Yeah." So I go to the garage, open the door, and I just hear what's his name, London.
London.
I just hear London walking behind me, just in this little sprint. I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?"
Oh, Zay, you're talking about Zay, the little boy. Yeah.
And
See,
London was eating.
You remember when I told you that I was that little boy that every parent's like, oh shit, I hope I don't get that little boy. That's my son.
That's your son?
That's my son. And I love it. You know, it's the coolest thing in the world, but he is gonna, he's gonna be a handful for a little while. Yeah. And again, just shout out to my wife, because it's a lot.
He's adorable, man. I saw his cheeks. They're so chubby. So when I had to go up there and go, play with them, but I was like, I need to trade. So,
dude, you should see the little fat rolls in his legs. That's what gets me. You take his clothes off, and then you get like little fat rolls on the legs. And you just squeeze them like a marshmallow. It's amazing. It's like the Michelin Man.
That's cool. So then, when did you decide to start True Fitness?
Dude, let's go back to props to my wife, because
your wife is also into fitness.
She's also into fitness, but
shout out to you.
She is I would say she's probably my number 1 fan, right? And that's really cool to be in a relationship and be able to say that. And what she's like is, why don't we do this on our own?
Right.
Why don't we make this happen? And I'm like, oh God, how do we make this happen? And she's like, you just do it.
Wow, just told you.
You just do it. You know, my wife is a woman who says a lot with a very few set of words, right?
Yeah. Like she has a lot of meaning behind the few words that she says.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Like I'm sitting here looking for like an hour-long discussion about how we're going to perfectly lay this out, right? And she's like, just do it.
And you're like, okay.
You're like, all right,
like,
fine.
Oh, shit.
You're like, all right, I'll go do it then.
What's step 1? Do I have to set up an LLC? I'm going to need an accountant. I'm going to need, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny because she's like, I'm just going to sign people up. I'm going to charge them money.
Okay.
I'm going to do what I do best.
Yeah.
I'm going to write workout plans. I'm going to write diet plans. And we're just going to do it. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, it worked. Yeah. And it's still working. So.
Right. Yeah, because she's the one who did write up the diet plan for us. And I remember when I first was going to go with you, I called her, I think, because my mom gave me her number. But I thought I was calling you. So when she answered, she's like, hey. I'm like, hi. And I'm like, you train? I'm like wanting to train or something. She was like, yeah. And I remember exactly where I was at. I was at the bathroom stall in the mall when I called her. I don't know why I was in the bathroom, but I wasn't doing anything in there. I was just calling her, and she's like, yeah, this is the plan. You know, you have to come in. We'll take pictures, and then we'll get you in a diet, and then build, you know, a plan to work out. I'm like, okay. Then from there on, I never again did I speak to her or you or anything until when I reached out to you then with Jackie, which was like 2 years later.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So then you start True Fitness.
Yep. Then we started True Fitness, and it took a long time to figure out like the name and the logo and things like that.
It's a sick name, I'll say that, and a sick logo too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you go ahead?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but before that, you know, I'd kind of been trying to do things with a few different places in fitness, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to give props to Jeremy Marcotte a little bit,
Is he the blonde guy with like super ripped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a lot of respect for this guy just because he did help me get my start, and I think you know I want to pay my dues to him and give him a shout out too, just because when I was starting this, it was initially like, I kind of want to train bodybuilders.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to train guys to look like Lazar Androlov and Matt Ogus, you know, because that's what I wanted to look like. I wanted to look in the mirror and be like, man, I got a decent set of muscle here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy really helped me get that start, right? And a lot of what I do is modified based off of his teachings to me. So I guess I wanted to throw him out there too, because like even coaches need coaches.
Right.
And he was my coach. He helped me get there. So
That's cool. Yeah, I've seen him around at the gym a couple times, but I never talked to him. I was too scared.
Well, again, go find the biggest guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is pretty big though. He's huge.
Yeah, he's scary. He's scary big. So
Yeah. So you start True Fitness, and then when you started, did you have like a plan? Did you want to do it or a goal that you're like, okay, I want to grow this thing to the point where I'm doing it full time? Was it just always a side gig?
that's
That
yet to be
changed?
determined.
Oh, you haven't determined the goal yet?
You know, honestly, man, like opening a business is scary, right? Right now, we've got it pretty cush. We're doing okay. We get to train our people. It's pretty comfortable. But at some point, we're going to have to make a jump.
Right.
Right. And recently, let's give another shout out to Anytime Fitness.
Yep.
They've allowed us a membership to go in and work with our people part-time there, you know, when we need it. And it's more equipment for me so I can meet my goals, you know. So Clint over at Anytime Fitness, we love you, man. We're really excited to work with you. But at some time, I'm going to have to say, hey, you know what? I got to find $200,000 or more. And I got to throw it because I want a small gym at first. I don't want it super big.
Right.
I kind of want something a little more personal, you know, maybe put a cap on members and only do my training.
Yeah.
Right. And Maria's training, of course. Yet to be determined.
But that's a sick goal. Little gym, you know, that's pretty cool to have your own little like thing, you know, your own little place. When you decide to start True Fitness, were you already doing insurance?
No. So I started True Fitness, and then I just couldn't train everybody that I wanted to train, right? So if you look at series of events, True Fitness kind of popped off before. I was trying to train people and do things, and then I went back to school, and that's when everything sparked with the insurance world. When I took that wellness class, I'm like, man, I need to get into finance. Yeah. And that's when the insurance thing really, really kicked in. And that's when I started owning my schedule. There's a lot to be said for owning your own schedule.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, when you're on a set schedule, working for someone else, and you have to be there at that time and you get out at this time, then you earn this much, and you know what you're going to get paid every paycheck basically. It's really, if you're a person who doesn't have a plan, you can get stuck in that world, stuck in that, in that rut of just, I work, come home, maybe I go work out if I'm fit. If not, then I don't work out, play video games or whatever, and that's kind of my life.
Well, and that's what I would call getting comfortable. My biggest problem was I have to be able to meet the needs of Brandon and Jackie. Yeah. Brandon and Jackie go to work at 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. I got to be able to train them before or after they go to work. Yeah. Well, if I don't have that, right, say I was back at the hospital and I had to wake up at 5 a.m., all of a sudden that training it just disappears because ain't nobody showing up at my place at 4 a.m.
Right. And that's when we started training with you, that's one thing I would tell her. I was like, it's insane that he's waking up at 5 a.m. to train us, because you have a little boy who, maybe doesn't sleep at night, and your little girl who could wake up at night, have a nightmare or whatever. And, it's like he's still there every single Wednesday and Thursday, right? We train Wednesday and Thursdays and Saturdays?
Honestly, it's been a while. I don't remember which days it was exactly.
I was like, he's up every single day that we go. So that was really impressive.
Thank you. Again, thanks to my wife for handling that little boy. that I told you his personality is a replica of me. And so there's just so dang much energy in that little kid. I mean, he's 7 months old and I already have no idea what to do with him.
Gonna get him to fitness at 2 years old. So
I'm gonna start turning on Rocky and Creed.
Hey, there you go.
Where's the marbles at?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him 2 little buckets of marbles and just watch him. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like a science experiment. I wonder if he's gonna catch on like I did.
Yeah, probably.
That'd be really cool.
Do you? I want to ask you this, because you and your wife are pretty fit, right? Do you think that's for parents or soon to be parents? Do you think that's important to be a fit parent to your kids? If that makes sense.
To the kids, yeah.
Because obviously the kids see that, especially when they're 5, 6, 7. Those ages where they're kind of just sponges and taking in everything. Do you think it's important for the babies and the kids to see, oh, my mom and my dad are working out every day and they're being in shape and whatnot?
This could be kind of controversial. We could go through a controversial world because, anyways.
That's okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I do 100%. Man, how do I say this without being controversial?
If you are, it's okay.
No. I think that my kids are learning every single day to wake up with tenacity and to wake up with a goal and with a purpose. And I think they're learning because they're watching us, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to lead by example, my wife and I. And we do believe in fitness. Yeah. And we do believe that if you're fit, you're healthy, your body fat's a little bit lower, your brain's going to work better, you're going to feel better, you're going to be a happier person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I think that it is important for them.
I agree too. We don't have to answer this if you don't feel comfortable, because it could be controversial, but what do you think about the whole movement of like, own your own body, be comfortable in your own body, yet you weigh 300 pounds and are super unhealthy, and you're 24 years old, and you're influencing these younger girls, guys, whatever, to be, okay with their body, yet these kids, 13, 14 years old, are weighing 170 pounds and are obese, I can go first.
No. That's okay. Let's go.
A step further.
I'm trying to choose my words wisely, so don't piss anybody off. There's gonna be. I'm gonna get yelled at. If I want to know truthfully, if these people wake up happy and they look in the mirror and they can stare themselves in the eye and love themselves, then that's where they need to be. I am no one to judge anyone for their size, their weight, their anything. I am here to say, if you are happy, you look in the mirror and you're happy, then that's on you. That's great. You do what you do, you boo.
Yeah.
It's not my circus, not my monkeys. If you are not happy, give me a call.
Right.
I will fix whatever's going on.
Yeah. And I'll take a little bit step further, and I will go controversial. I will say that you got to be careful with if you are a pop star, right, and you are influencing little kids, you got to be careful with how you influence them, because they might not be happy in their own body, but they see you and they're like, well, if she's happy, I'm going to be happy too, even though deep down they might not be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. Okay. So mental health is a big deal in the world right now, right? Like we're all looking over our shoulder. We're all looking at the phones and seeing these women that are absolutely gorgeous, or you know, there's a lot of guys watching girls twerk their huge butts around, right? And everybody wants to look like that, and in reality, you know, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors,
Right.
and it's just not attainable. Let's go into genetics.
Yeah.
Can we talk genetics? I'm gonna go a different route.
Okay. Let's do
So everybody is born with a set of genetics, and we cannot fix that.
Right.
Right? You look at the bodybuilding world, and you look at some of the guys that get so upset when they don't win. Maybe that other dude just had better genetics.
Yeah.
You look at a girl with a butt, right? That's really what I was thinking about. Man, maybe you weren't gifted a butt. So what?
Right.
Is your physique the only thing that you're worried about in life?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you there's a whole lot more underneath that physique.
Right.
Right? And so as far as mental health goes, again, I don't give a damn about what the person over there is doing.
Right.
I don't care what somebody on social media looks like. I know what I look like. I know what I've been gifted, and I'm going to make it better.
Yeah.
And for me, that's hitting my own personal goals. Now, a lot of people, I hope they're listening to this. Stop looking at Becky. Like, who cares what Becky looks like? And I don't know who Becky is. I'm just using Becky as
He's like, who is that?
Yeah.
He's sitting here. He was giving me this look like, damn, who's Becky? She's probably hot.
I'm like, do I know Becky? I'm like, who's Becky?
No. But
No,
you
you know
know,
who came up? Becky G.
Me too, yeah. For a second, but then I was like, oh no, he's not talking about like anyone.
that-
no,
that's
I'm
why
not
I was-
talking about
yeah.
anyone. I'm just saying, don't compare yourself to anybody. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Just be happy with who you are. And if you're not, we're going to put my number in the link so you can call me.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Call him.
Right?
For sure.
Because I want to work with everybody. That was back to the 18 thing. That goal's never changed. I want to work with people. I want to help people get better. I want to help people look better, feel better, move better, perform better. Like if you're an athlete, you want to be bigger, faster, stronger, let's go. I'm all about that. You know, I'm also a competitor. I'm an athlete. Like you want to do that? You want to go that route? Let's go that route.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking to lose a couple of pounds, I'll do that too.
Do you get a sense of satisfaction? And I assume you do, but you know, do you get a sense of satisfaction when you see someone achieve their goals? When they go in with you weighing a certain weight, they come out weighing less?
I think I like it more than the people do themselves.
Yeah.
And I think when my people fail, I hate it more than they hate it themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And so the answer, yes.
That's cool. That's badass. So then, just to kind of end it off, I want to talk a little bit about shredded nutrition.
Okay.
How did that come about? And what is your advice to the kids who are just buying pre-workout that they're not even looking at the ingredients? So what's your advice to them? You know,
I
like,
still believe that's the best pre-workout
me too.
I've taken.
For sure. 100%. So
I haven't found anything better.
yeah, me neither. We tried one from
It's
Walmart, dude. It was
crazy.
shit.
It was shit.
Complete shit, dude. Left my mouth blue. So yeah, he's an owner. He's the owner of Shredded Nutrition too. So
Yes. Thank you. Blake Luthi deserves a lot of the credit. He's the one that came up with the blend. And we've mixed things up a little bit. We changed it a little bit. I'm an entrepreneur, man.
Yeah.
Like if I can, I mean, what is the two most commonly bought items in the fitness world?
pre-workout and gym sweats.
That's probably true. You got me there.
Leggings.
Supplement wise, I would say the top three is probably pre-workout, aminos, and protein. Right? Those are the top three. Well, the overhead for protein is ridiculous. Like getting whey protein, especially good whey isolate right now, is pretty expensive, and you don't make a lot when you sell it.
Wow.
So that's one of the things. So it's really hard as a business owner, you know, or starting in the nutrition world. That's really difficult to get going. Hopefully we're getting there.
Yeah.
But Blake had already started the aminos. Well, EAAs, the essential aminos, and he had already started the pre-workout.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so we just took his blend and we mixed it up a little bit to, you know, excite people really. And then we're gonna leave his EAAs alone for now because they're phenomenal.
Yeah, they're delicious.
They're phenomenal. They're also, I mean, it's great for hydration, great for recovery, you know. And so we're kind of, I guess back to your question, we're kind of padding our pockets a little bit more. As a business owner, right? You have to have multiple avenues.
Right.
You can't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm training people, I'm owning a gym, it kind of just makes sense to offer the best products that I can.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, tag
And
along
on
with
top
it.
of that, we get paid for it. And not only that, but we're going to, you know, do the ambassador program.
Yep.
And so I can bring a little bit of money to all my people too that are going to sell it for me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it just makes sense.
Yeah, that does. So then for the kids who just buy pre-workout randomly, do you think there's a danger with some of the supplements that are in that pre-workout that they don't even look at, that they look at the logo or the flavor or the bottom, they're like, oh, that looks cool.
Definitely. Well, and you know, I'm gonna call out Blake.
Okay.
Cause he'll tell you this all day long. He is so passionate about this, man.
Yeah.
It's cool. When you talk to him, he radiates passion.
Hell yeah.
Which is cool, you know. Water, man.
Yeah.
Like you see the dry scooping trend right now?
Yeah, everyone's doing it.
Right. Everyone's doing it. Well, if you are dehydrated, which we're kind of a nation of people that are dehydrated anyways, right? Because of all the caffeine we take and all the diuretics we take, like coffee is a natural diuretic. Caffeine's, you know, a diuretic. It's going to push water out of your system. A lot of these things take water to digest. And if you don't have enough water, some of the supplements inside of that label can release toxins inside of your body.
Whoa. That's intense.
So if I'm going to educate the listeners today, I'm going to say drink more water. And if you're going to dry scoop, fine. I understand it's a trend. It's kind of fun. I can get behind it. Don't snort it, you dumbasses. That one I've never understood.
Yeah,
Get a sinus infection, whatever, it's on you, I guess. Your body, your life.
You inject it.
Heat it up a little bit in a spoon. Like, oh man, this pump is gonna be amazing.
I imagine if they came out with like blunts made of pre-workout.
You know what's funny about that? Sorry, to spit on
That's
what's funny about that is my buddy, also in the insurance world, KJ, I love you. He just found a pouch. Like a pouch of chew, but it's pre-workout you put in your lip and you suck on it. It's pretty cool. Like I gotta give a shout out to the people that made this because it's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting. It's new. You know what I mean? But again, where's the water?
Yeah, they should say like, oh, when you take this pouch, you also have to drink 24 ounces of water or something like that.
Right.
Don't send my idea. If you do, then you have to pay me because I came up with that, and the joint too.
The joint.
Yeah.
He's patenting the joint pre-workout right now.
And we're going to make it work with shredded. So anyone else out there, you're sued.
Don't share your needles when you're injecting pre-workout though, okay?
Yeah, don't do that.
Hey, can we pause 2 seconds?
Yeah, go ahead. You're ready. And we're back, guys. Vinny's getting set up here.
Cool.
It's okay. So with pre-workout, just drink water. That's your advice.
Oh man,
With anything.
with anything, just drink more water. We need
That's
to
why I
stay
got myself
hydrated.
water because, stay hydrated.
That's right, buddy. Hey, speaking of which, I'll get mine.
So to finalize it here, last question. What's your overall advice for the people who, maybe they started already working out, they're going through a hard time, and they want to quit, for someone who doesn't know where to start, for someone who hasn't seen results or hasn't seen the results they've wanted? What's your overall advice for those people they have the illusion of fitness in their head, but they don't know where to go, where to start, where to begin, things like that?
Hire me. No.
For real.
No, for real.
I'd say that.
Like there's a lot of good resources out there. It doesn't have to be me. Find a coach, find a resource, a website, a workout plan, find some structure. right? Because that's what we're all really missing is a little bit of structure and a little bit of direction. And it goes back to that burn your boats thing, man. Like commit to it, burn your boats. You know, you might not do, and give yourself grace too.
Yeah.
Like just because you didn't do well one week, that doesn't mean you should quit. Just keep going.
Yeah. Or just because you left your diet for 2 months doesn't mean you have to keep losing your diet.
That sounds familiar.
Huh.
Huh.
I don't want to say any names, but
You know, it's just
Give myself grace.
no.
yeah, give
best
yourself
believe
grace.
we're gonna be back.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we want to get back into it. I want to get back into it soon.
Yeah.
Like soon.
Well, today with Kennedy was an eye opener for you, I think, huh?
Yeah. Holy smokes. I died.
Let's be honest though, your brother. So how old is he?
He's 13 and it's incredible. He impresses me a lot. Like a lot.
Well, you realize that he is your biggest fan. He is
Yeah.
looking up to you right now. And
Shout
so
out to you,
everything that you're doing right now,
Yeah.
he's mimicking.
Literally. It's
Not
kind
to-
of insane.
Not to put that pressure on you,
Yeah.
but just understand that you are what he wants to be.
And it's cool because he does it 10 times better than me, which is, you know, as a competitor, I'm like, oh, you fucking. But as a brother, I'm like, hell yeah, dude, do it better. Do it better than me. You know, that's kind of, as a sibling, what you want is your siblings to do better than you in anything they do. So, hell yeah.
I love that. And you know what? Watching this morning too was so cool because truth is, I baited you.
How?
I knew what he would be better at than you.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. It was false. It was a setup,
He
guys.
did it dirty.
Damn it.
Well, the thing is I wanted to teach you a lesson, and I
Yeah.
wanted to build his confidence. Because
There
at
we
13
go.
years old, what he needs is a little bit of confidence, and at 21, what you need is a reality check.
Yeah. And I got my reality check, so I hope he got his confidence because I got off that trip and I was like, damn, I'm out of shape. I need to get back into it.
Well, and look at the training. Look at how you guys do. There's a big difference, right? Like you've got a ton of muscle on your frame.
Yeah.
You've got a lot more weight than he does,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm like, how do I use that weight against him
And
to
he did it.
really get him back where he needs to be, so he understands that Kennedy's killing it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, well, Kennedy's endurance is insane, so obviously I got to run him. See who could
Yeah.
run the longest, you know. So we put an incline on the treadmill, and we put the
Yeah.
speed at something that
I
was
fucking-
manageable for Kennedy.
I hate running. I fucking hate running too. Especially because I get like shin splits, so I fucking hate it.
I'll be honest, I was I was a little surprised at a few of the outcomes. Like so here's what we did, guys. We started out with sit-ups. And I expected Kennedy to take that one because he's lighter. He has less weight to sit up with. And anyway, I just expected him to take it because he does that every day too.
Yep.
Like
And he did.
with his with his boxing. The plank I knew you would take just because your plank is insane.
I beat the plank record in Vinny's gym at 4 minutes and 22 seconds. The last guy who held it was 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And the guy before that, guess who it was? Me. So,
And how long was it today?
4 minutes and 22 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. I got into Kennedy's head though. I was like, come on, just sit down. Just lay down.
You were
Like,
messing with
just
him
trying
so
to do
bad.
with me all the time.
Yeah, because he was like, he was like grunting and like, I was like, come on, you can lay down. It's okay. And he did. So that was pretty fun.
Well, in the next one, you know, to make it fair, we did like a body weight, more of a body weight kind of squat competition.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how Kennedy was going to do on that one because he doesn't train for weights. He trains for
Yeah.
body weight stuff. And so I'm like, oh man, he's 13. Maybe I shouldn't do this one. But then I'm like, maybe I should give Brandon a chance.
Yeah. Well, and it was, the squats fucked me up because at first, listen, this is how I went into it because I knew Kennedy didn't do squats. I was like, if I get a cool 15, Kennedy's going to be, it's going to be hard for him. But then I did 21 because my inner self was like, come on, you can do a little bit more. So then I do 21. I almost pass out. I like want to puke. And my hearing
Like
goes.
always.
Want to or did?
You know, we won't go into it. Let's just say my hearing went away. My vision was all blurry. And then Kennedy started to go. And then he got to 18. I'm like, oh shit. And then he got to 20. I'm like, oh man. And I was like, come on, dude, you can do it. That fool decided to do 26. He almost broke his back, but he did 26, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, his form. He was like Quasimodo at the end of it. And I'm like, okay, kid, I know you can do more because you're that determined, but you got to stop before you hurt yourself.
Yeah, because it got to the point where the weight was like forward. Like it wasn't like
man.
straight.
His arch was like, he was like Quasimodo. You
Yeah,
know?
it was like, I was, and then he's like, oh, Brandon, can you spot your brother? And I was like, God, I'm like about to pass out here. And he wants to spot him. And I was like, I don't even know if I can lift this weight. So
It's kind of funny watching you all dizzy, like,
Yeah.
oh man, Kennedy, don't mess up because I can't get you.
Yeah, it was. But
And then the final was the run, and I knew Kennedy was gonna take the run 100%.
Oh yeah, he was running before I got there, so he already had a little start, and so I was like, oh man.
He just, I mean, it makes sense, right? He weighs 130 pounds. You weigh 165, something like that.
He's lean, tall.
He's lean. He's been training for that. Like his
Yeah.
lungs are in shape. Yours aren't.
Yeah, no, not at all. I drank alcohol last night.
I didn't even want to mention that. I wasn't gonna throw you under the bus that bad.
No, listen, you gotta own to your actions, and I fucked up by drinking alcohol. Got too drunk last night.
Well, it wasn't even a lot.
It wasn't a
first of all.
lot, but I don't drink regularly. So when I do drink, it hits me really hard. So I went in this morning. I was like, okay, I'm feeling. I don't have a hangover or anything, so I'm feeling good. You know, I think I'll be good. But then those squats, dude.
Well, I
those
told
fucking
you.
squats.
I told you last night. You're gonna regret that.
I did when I did those squats because that's when I had heartburn and everything. I was like, man, this is why I need to stay in shape.
Well, and let's go back to the water.
Yeah.
What does alcohol do?
They hydrate you a ton.
Boom.
That's why we're drinking water, guys.
And you were probably noticing that this morning.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I don't know if I'm assuming it happens for girls too. But when you pee as a guy and your pee comes out really yellow and it stinks, you're like, okay, I need to drink water. That's like that's how you know. You know, I feel like it's the same for females unless their bodies are different with hormones and whatnot.
I've always just assumed that girls don't pee and they don't poop.
I mean that too.
I think it just disappears into air, right, Jackie?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
They make it disappear. Vinny, thank you for
This
coming,
guy.
brother. It was a fun time having you here. It was a great time.
Yeah, thank you.
Any shout outs you want to give? Mention your Instagram where they can go look you up at, follow you.
Oh, man. Vinny Hawks at gmail.com on anything Instagram. You know, call me 208-497-7736. If I don't answer, send me a text.
Yeah,
Because it's usually because I'm with my kids.
there you go.
And so, or with a client. So,
Yeah, go check him out on Instagram at Vinny Hawks. Shredded Nutrition too. You have on there. I think you have
Shredded
True-
Nutrition,
and
True
Fit.
Fitness. Yeah, there's quite a few things on there. I'm easy to get a hold of. Go find me. They're all linked together somehow. And
Yeah.
you tag me all the time. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Much love to you guys too. And I wanted to ask you too before we go. Like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I like this. This setup's really cool. How's it going for you guys?
It's been really cool. It's been great, honestly. I remember when we first started, you called me, right? And you're like, so I just listened to your podcast. What's your goal with it? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, to just keep uploading. I guess you're like,
I just want to talk to people, bro.
yeah, you're like, no. You're like, what's your goal? Like, what is your plan? Like, are you looking at numbers? What are you doing? And I was like, I think I expect like, this amount of listeners and this and that. And then, and so that kind of got me to think, I was like, yeah, what is my goal? Like, what am I trying to reach, Because I didn't have a goal as far as numbers go. So then you texted me through Instagram. I think you're like, so how's it going? I'm like, good. We have way more listeners than I expected or something like that. So then now that you've come in here and, you asked me this, the growth of the podcast over the past month, or 2 months, has been insane. It's been really good. I can tell you some of the numbers after, but let me just say, when I said I expect 10 to 15 listeners, we've surpassed that by a lot. So it's been really cool to see. It's been really fun. I think it's something that I have more fun at doing than I thought I would, And you have to, and then I've gotten more comfortable with the camera, with having guests is probably one of the best things because you talk to them, you get to know them, you interact, and you get inspired. You know, you're like, yeah, like he's been through some shit too. Like it's not because sometimes you can get caught in the I'm going through some shit in my personal life or work this whatever, but then you have a guest and they're like, yeah, dude, I went through this or I'm going through this, and you're like, oh, like there's other humans that are going through shit too. It's not just me by myself or whatever. It's everyone is going through shit, you know? Sometimes some people have it better than others. Sometimes some people have a good time, but then they hit like a wall and it's like shit time. So, you know, that's been cool to see. It's been a great journey, honestly. And I can't thank the supporters and the listeners enough because they've been through it. They've been here since day one. So shout out to you guys. There we
Awesome.
go.
You know, and the reason I asked about the goal was just because I want to know what direction you're going. You know, I'm a coach. That's what I do. I want to know what is the goal at the end of this, you know?
Yeah. And I mentioned in another podcast, I guess I'll mention it here since I'll be coming out. But, you know, the goal at some point is to have a production studio, you know? And I want to be a producer for other podcasts, you know. It doesn't have to be mine. It can be someone else. But I want to help produce that, you know?
Cool.
And I want to have my own production company, which I won't reveal the name of it because I've already thought about it. But you guys are going to steal it, so I'm going to keep it to myself.
You guys are doing awesome. And you're doing cool things. I think that, you know, when I look at it, you're passionate about it. You like talking to people. Yeah. You like becoming knowledgeable, yes. Maybe. You're educating yourself. Yeah. And you're doing it through other people's eyes, right?
Yeah.
And exactly. it's really cool to watch. Like I'm listening to some of those podcasts and I'm like, this kid, he's getting smarter every time.
Yeah, I like to learn a lot, and you know, I like to learn through books, through videos, through whatever, but through people as well. It's honestly one of the best ways of learning is through someone else. So
one of these days you're gonna have your own radio station or something cool.
Oh, man, I'm excited. We have big goals, bro. Huge goals. It's going to be sick. I'm coming for that $100 million contract from Joe Rogan, so.
Oh, bro, let's go.
So then I'll be able to set up a lot of cool stuff, you know? There's some plans, dude. I'll tell you some of them, but there's some really cool plans that I have planned out for like the next 10, 15 years. So, yeah, it's been sick.
I love that. I love that. So this is your podcast journey.
My one podcast step at journey. A time. One step, one episode. One project at a time, and then we'll figure out the rest after. But, yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love to y'all. Hopefully y'all have a blessed day at the time of this listening. And hit up Vinny if you guys want to know anything about fitness, insurance, and
or if you just want to talk.
Or if you just want to talk. He's a good friend too. So, yeah, we love you all. Take care, and see you on the next one.
Peace.
Whew. Knock that thing out, bro.
That was good.
That was super fun.